Today we're taking a look at a Swedish brand. There aren't many Swedish brands out there, especially when it comes to micro brands. It's called Elato, and I have one of their sports watches hands-on to show you guys. There's definitely some inspiration from King Seiko and maybe some Grand Seiko. However, it's definitely its own design, and I think this is a really good looking watch, especially considering the price and what you're getting. So, like I said, I have one hands-on, so let's flip the camera and take a look at Elato. And here's the watch. This is a really good-looking everyday watch, and I think that's kind of what they were going for. There is definite inspiration from Grand Seiko, and I would say King Seiko in the case, but they've done enough here to make it its own watch. The dial is really interesting here. You're getting a lot of lume on the dial. There are a few different layers and there's a few different textures. So there's an outer portion of the dial where there are indices. They are filled with lume, and that is like a grain texture. So there's just a small circle, the outer portion of the dial with the minute track. And then inboard of that, you have another area that has a circular pattern on it. That has applied indices. Those are also filled with lume. So you have double indices that are double lumed. So you have two separate indices that are both lumed on this dial, which is kind of cool. I've seen that on other watches, but I think it looks really good here. And obviously it adds more lume, so I never complain about lume. You have very interesting hands on here, very organic looking hands, rounded on the edge. Those are all filled with lume as well. I believe there is lume on the second hand, but I am not 100% sure of that. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes when we do the lume shot. And then in the center of the dial, you have a guilloche pattern that is stamped. So 3 different textures on this dial, 3 different layers. You are also getting a boxed sapphire crystal that is very high off of the case. This watch is only 10.5 millimeters thick. That is including that really boxed sapphire crystal. So when you turn it on its side, it is very thin. And that's because you're getting a very thin movement inside, and you're getting 100 meters of water resistance, and you get to see that movement from the sapphire crystal on the back. That is excellent. The case back is screwed in, the crown is screwed in. You are getting a very custom rotor on here, and that rotor is lumed. I love when a watch brand does something that makes absolutely no sense, but that's what they have done here. They have lumed a rotor on a watch, and you will never see it unless you take your watch off and then, of course, expose it to light, which is kind of cool. I just think it's a wild thing to do, and I always welcome that sort of creativity. It's a very, very interesting rotor. It looks like a rounded off triangle. It's their logo. It is awesome. I really have to say they made it look really great. And it's a Miyota 9039, so it's already a pretty good looking movement, but I think when you put a custom rotor on a Miyota movement, specifically the 9000 series, it looks even better. It looks like a higher end movement than it actually is, which is, of course, great. This is around a 38 millimeter watch at the case. At the bezel, it's a little bit smaller, but it wears like a 38 millimeter in my opinion. You have a polished bezel. You have very large lines of polish along the sides of the case. And then on the top of the case, on the top of the lugs and the bracelet, you have brushing. When you turn it over, you have a very large line of brushing again. So really cool alternating finishes here, and I think it looks really good. And then you have drilled lugs because obviously if you want to change your straps, but you also have quick release, so they're giving you everything, and it's very easy to change your straps on this. You also get a large crown. Considering the size of this watch, it's over 6 millimeters, around 6.3 millimeters, which is very large for crown on a 38 millimeter watch. And then the lug to lug on this watch is around 46 millimeters. That's including the bracelet, because this does get female end links on this H or I link bracelet, whatever you want to call it. You have polishing down the middle, brushed links on the outside, and then there is polishing on the sides of the bracelet. You have screwed links, and you get on the fly micro adjust, which is adjustable off wrist. You have that little tab on here. Just push that in and then pull out. And that's it. And you could adjust it off wrist or on wrist, however you want to do it. So really nice clasp on here, signed with the brand logo and the brand name. And you have lines of polish on either side of the clasp. Screwed in crown, like I was saying, screwed in case back, 100 meters of water resistance. Just in general, a very good looking watch. I do want to mention one other important thing about this watch. This also gets an extra hard coating. Considering the price and what you're getting here, that is pretty good. So the extra hard coating is on the case and the bracelet, obviously, and that gives you extra scratch resistance. This is made out of 316L stainless steel, but adding that extra hard coating obviously makes it a little bit more scratch resistant, and that is always welcome. Today on my wrist, I have Kaiser Design. This is a German brand who are making their own cases and their own dials in Germany. So this is literally a handmade watch in Germany, which is not very typical because obviously that is very difficult to do. They are actually 3D printing these cases and finishing them in Germany, and they are making these dials and finishing them in Germany, and they are coloring them in Germany. The only thing that they are, I guess, making outside of Germany is the movement, which is a Swiss movement, and then possibly the strap, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Very cool watch, and I really cannot wait to see what they do next, but I am making a video about this watch, so definitely stay tuned. And there is the Elato Arvet on my 7.5-inch wrist, and you can see this wears perfectly. It's 38 millimeters. You have these long lugs, but they don't wear very long because you do have those female end links, and it just fits and looks incredible on my 7.5-inch wrist. It kind of looks like a dress watch, but you have everything here for a sports watch because you have so much lume and you have a screwed in crown and screwed in case back. By the way, you can see the movement, which is cool, which is lume. We're going to do a lume shot in just a few seconds, but everything here is basically sports watch inspired, but it's thin, so it looks like a dress watch at the same time. I think it's a very good looking watch. Again, this is a 38 millimeter watch with around a 46.2 millimeter lug to lug and around a 10.5 millimeter thickness, and you can see it wears very close to my wrist. Well, there you go. I think my only complaint about this watch, and I have very little complaints about this watch, is that there is no lume on the seconds hand. Considering it's a sports watch, but technically not. It's like a dress sports watch. It would be nice to have a little bit of lume on there so that you could see that it's working in the dark. But I will say that when you're wearing it and you look down, that second hand does cross over the indices a little bit, so you could see that it's working in the dark if you really pay attention. So that's just my personal thing. You guys know I bring that up with every watch that I review. I like to see lume on seconds hands. I will be saying that until I die probably, but that's about it. Other than that, I think this is a really good looking watch for a very good price of $549. You're getting a lot of lume on this dial. You have two sets of indices, and then those hands are liberally applied with lume. You're getting that Miyota 9039, so that is a dateless version of the Miyota 9000 series, plus that custom rotor with lume, which is pretty incredible. I mean, there's really no reason for it. It is completely unnecessary, but when you spin this and you see that lume, it looks pretty cool. It's kind of mesmerizing. And in general, a watch with extra lume anywhere is always welcome in my book. So, I mean, there you go. So you're getting a pretty premium movement with a custom rotor, sapphire crystal in the front and back, bracelet, just a generally good looking watch. It comes in a leather pouch as well for $549. Like I said, I have very few complaints except for the fact that I would like to see lume on the second hand, but again, that is my personal preference. Other than that, I don't have any complaints about this watch. Really good price, really great watch. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of its inspiration? Obviously, I think there's inspiration from King Seiko, but it definitely looks like its own thing at the same time, like I said. So I really like the overall design here and the aesthetic. I think it's really good, kind of interesting and sporty at the same time. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. I will add a link to this watch down in the description. Definitely check them out if you aren't interested. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.